What's going on YouTube? It's Repulse, back to another video. In today's video, we are doing a 7-round mock draft for the Texans. This is pretty much when you have a good idea of who you're getting in free agency. The Texans, we know, got Christian Kirk to be wide receiver 2. Signed all these guys, pretty much all depth pieces, like Laken Tomlinson. Sheldon Rankins, I believe, will be a starter. Mario Edwards to maybe be a starter if we don't go D-line in the draft. Derek Barnett, rotational piece. A lot of special teams guys here. Um, so yeah, we didn't really spend all that much in free agency, but we acquired guys such as Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Christian Kirk to be plug-and-play starters right away, and then got guys like Evan Ingram to help depth on the offensive line. But it does let us know what we tend to, or what we're going to address in the draft. And I think that's predominantly going to be the O-line. So as we enter the draft room here, um, we have number 25 and 58, which are both our picks. 79, which is the Commanders pick that they're given to us. I think it's originally owned by the Dolphins, though. And then we have 89, which is ours. And then skip the fourth. And then I think these are 2/7, and then we have 1/6. But yeah, as we start the draft, our main goal is obviously to address the offensive line need. Ashton Jinty still hasn't gone, which is surprising. I don't know if I'm looking to make a trade up here. We're to 20. If I was to make a trade, I think I'd have to jump the Vikings. Yeah, I would have, but I didn't do it by accident. Um, so we look at the trade options here. You can trade down, acquire more picks. I really like this deal with the Jaguars, actually. I'm going to take that. I think if we don't have our preferred offensive line target in the first round, which I believe is Kelvin Banks, then I think we do look to trade down, which lets us acquire a ton of picks. And this could let us acquire even more if we want to stock up on draft guys. And I think it'd be silly not to take that Patriots offer. But you know what? I'll do the more realistic thing, which is just take the Saints. So we trade down twice. And I think this is where we can make our first pick. And geez, there's some great guys here. I mean, it's hard not to take one of these two safeties. They're so good. I'd love to have them here. But I think if we're in this position and Gray Zable's still here, we're gonna take Gray Zabel. It's unfortunate because I really wanted to go the safeties, but Gray Zable's probably one of the most versatile offensive linemen in this draft. He can play in the interior, he can play in the exterior, but I think he'll play predominantly guard in the NFL. But then again, it's really, really good player. I think someone that's going to go in the first round. He just happened to fall in this mock draft. But yeah, really, really, really good player. A guy that I really like. And yeah, we're able to get him at number 40, which I think is great value because I think he is a first half of the first round type of guy. But moving on to 58, we addressed one side of the offensive line, but do we need to address the other? I think so, and I think you could see that with our first two picks. Because I mean, these D linemen, really deep D line class. A lot of guys that I like. Edge, I like Josiah Stewart for the Texans a lot. I like Kyle Kennard. I like Princely Uman-Mielen. Yeah, so there's a lot of guys at other positions, and I think if you desperately need O line that badly, then I think you're able to put most of your attention towards it at the start because I think the O line class is pretty good at the top. And with that being said, it's between do you want to tackle and do you want to move Titus Howard to guard? In that case, you'd wait out for an Ozzie Trapilo or I guess just a Charles Grant, who I don't think is a guard really. If we look at Charles Grant's measurables, it kind of shows that he's a tackle. I think he has like 34 and 3/8 inch arms or something like that. Some of the bigger arms in the combine, 34 and 3/4. So yeah, really long arms, pretty much guaranteed to be a tackle, I believe. Um, so yeah, I don't think he's an interior offensive lineman, but I do think Marcus Mbo's an interior offensive lineman and a guy that I really like. From Purdue, he played tackle for them, but I think he's someone that'll kick out. Um, And we have back-to-back picks here. I didn't even realize that. Um, but yeah, guy that I really like, played tackle at Purdue, but if we show you his measurables, it will show that he's going to translate to be a guard in the NFL. 32-inch arms, which is pretty guard-like. The athleticism shows that he can play guard too. Really good player, really reliable for Purdue. Started all 14 games. Um, oh, that was 2022. Started 12 games this season at right tackle. That's what I meant to point out. That he played tackle this year rather than um, guard, but he'll be a guard in the NFL. And I think 2 picks addressing the interior offensive line. So you go something along the lines of, they said Titus would play left tackle, and then you go either in both here, but I think he'll be on the right. I think you could put Zabel on the left, which would be better. Patterson here, and then you go and Bo right there with Fisher on the right, and that's a pretty solid group. Young, besides Titus Howard, but I think we'll develop together and really buy into the system that Nick Caley's going to bring in. Moving on to pick 70, and I think something you could do here is address the interior defensive line. You could get another edge rusher, but you got does it have it here? What's his name? It just doesn't have it here. Um, Bears. We can go to the Bears. He's leaving the Bears. Um, no, that's Bengals. Bears. Not the what free agent types? No, relinquished. Where is he? I showed him on my last video. I just can't remember his name. Daryl Taylor. There we go. Or Darrell. Sorry, but I don't know why he's not on here. Um, did he go somewhere else or something? Yeah, I mean he is coming here. I don't know why it's not on Spot Track, but yeah. So we got Derek Barnett and Darrell Taylor coming in, so we don't really need the X tier of the defensive line, but we could go with N tier. But I think back to back here, what you want with Nick Caley, you want a tight end. Could that be Harold Fannin, who's uber productive? Could that not be? And could you wait out for a Gunnar Helmer or Terrence Ferguson, who I really like actually in Terrence Ferguson? Um, but another thing you need is that wide receiver 3, and a guy that I really like with size and speed is Jaden Higgins. Um, ran in the 4.4s at 6'4", 220, I believe. That's not how you spell Jaden Higgins. I'll show you his combine profile here. Yeah, 6'4", 214, 4.47 with explosiveness, as you can see in the testing. Pretty productive at Iowa State too. If we go Jaden Higgins stats, you can see that very productive this year. I mean, that shows the type of level of receiver he is. I know we got Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa State, but I really like this guy a lot more. He's kind of that Xavier Hutchinson mold, like in terms of size and speed ability. If I can show you Xavier Hutchinson's, see 6'3", 210, 6'4", 214, very similar to each other, but again, I think that Jaden Higgins is miles better of a prospect in terms of route running and hands. Um, so yeah, a guy I really like, a guy that I really like in Houston to be that complement to Nico Collins and Christian Kirk if we don't sign anyone else in free agency. And then we're back up at 71, and I don't know particularly what you do here because the tight ends I feel you could hold out if you want Gunnar Helm to be a blocking tight end or Terrence Ferguson to be that all-around tight end. But you could always go with Harold Fannin to be one of your um, main main tight ends. Sorry, but just more of a receiving threat than a actual tight end. I think you could go rotational on the interior D line, and that's what I'm going to do here in Joshua Farmer. Um, I don't know if y'all want me to pull up the stats on everyone, but I mean these are some great offers, but I'm just not doing them right now. But Josh Farmer, really good athlete at his size. I think 6'3", 330, somewhere around there. 305. Sorry, I don't know why I said 330. This is what really intrigues me though, is the arm length at that D tackle spot. With this, 177 10-yard split at that size is pretty impressive with that level of strength, with that reach that he has. Um, yeah, just really good player, a guy that I really like at the D tackle spot. I think someone that could go in the second round rather than the third. But if he falls and Houston's able to pick him up, I'd really like that. Moving on to 79. Um, and what do you do here if you're the Texans? That's another question. Do you want your home run hitting running back? Um, which I think you could get in the next round. I think you and I are all thinking the same player. But there's two guys down here that I really like as well. Um, you could get a really serviceable linebacker in Carson Schlesinger. Um, could go corner. Just get, because right now you have Jalen Petrie, Kamari, and Sting. So you could get your fourth guy, but you could address that later. Um, I think you might want to go into your offensive line here, or a guy that could play tackle for you. And I talked about him earlier, and I really like the player, and that is Charles Grant. I think someone that will kick out to tackle and eventually be a starter in this league. Um, yeah, player that I just really like. Um, and I think he has the arm length and the mobility to kick out to tackle. I think he will be a tackle as soon as he gets drafted, actually. Um, rather than being listed as an interior offensive lineman. I don't know why he's listed as that, but yeah, back-to-back picks again. I completely don't know how that happened. But if you're at 88 and Harold Fannon's still here, I think you're silly just not to take him. I mean, the production speaks for itself. One of the most productive tight ends in college history. So yeah, I think you're crazy not to take him, and you can still take two tight ends in a single class and just really, really hone in on one being able to block, one being able to be that receiving tight end. But I think you want that all-around guy. And Gunnar Helm's actually off the board, but I really like Terrence Ferguson to be another tight end for you, or Mitchell Evans. Um, but here at 89, I think what you could do is you could get more depth on the defensive side of the ball, um, or you could get your home run hitting running back. Considering that you don't pick until 142, or you could try to trade, which is what I'm gonna look for here with someone that's in the late 90s, 94 maybe, 102. That might be perfect. But if there's someone with like a 95, that's good. 90, 101, 98. Here we are. If I do this, nope, not that. This, they would let that happen. Which I'm gonna do. Um, and I'm going to get my home run hitting running back at this spot at 98, which is going to be the fastest running back in this class in Bashal Tootin. Um, I'll pull it up just because. Sure. He 4.32 at that 206. I mean, that's insane. He's a bulky running back too. It's not like he's like just a predominant speed guy. Like, I mean, 230 or 206, sorry, shows that he's a decent sized back. Obviously not as big as you'd want, but he's 5'9", so he's pretty bulky at that height weight combo. Um, but yeah, ran a 4.32, which is absolutely absurd. Um, and I think you need that home run hitter next to Joe Mixon, who's going to be your down to down back. Um, so yeah, you get Bashal Tootin to kind of be that long playability running back. Especially with Joe Mixon getting older. Moving on to pick 135 here. You have some guys that I actually really like. And I'm gonna. Oh, I have 142 as well. Um, I'm going to go corner here actually, and I'm going to take Jacob Parrish, who really intrigued me in that workout. Um, move down one spot to get a fourth and a seventh next year. I mean, you'd be silly not to take that, but I don't really care. It doesn't do anything for this draft. But yeah, Jacob Parrish really impressed me in his combine workout. Um, if I show you, he ran in the 4.4s, I believe. 4.35. Sorry, jeez. Yeah, uber athletic at the cornerback position. Pretty productive for um Kansas State. Sorry, I just blanked. Um, yeah, twitchy. That shows with the speed. But if you're able to be smooth at 4.35, then um you're gonna be a solid corner in the NFL. I believe. Prospect grade's good. Um, yeah, guy that I really like and a guy that I think could be a very serviceable fourth corner for us, especially if someone goes down to with injury. Um, moving on to pick 142, and I saw a guy that I really liked here to be, again, another rotational edge piece, and that is Jared Ivey. Um, I think someone that could go a lot higher than this. Fed off Princely Uman Mielin very well, but I think when you have that good of a edge tandem. Sorry, I don't know why I was blanking there. Yeah, if you have that good of an edge tandem, then you kind of just both feed off of each other. Um, and I think Jared Ivey's a really good player, a guy that can get to the quarterback very well. So yeah, pick that I really like. Especially at 142, I think it's great value because he's someone that could go as high as maybe 88. Um, but I mean, yeah, if he's there that late down the board, as well as Jacob Parrish, you kind of just bank on the athleticism. But moving on to pick 166, and I think one thing you could do to help that secondary is get a third safety and a guy that pretty much knows the Texans roster inside and out is Jalen Reed. Sorry. Um, if you see that combine interview, it's pretty shocking to figure out that he knew everything about us and all the players when he was asked about Houston. Um, so yeah, but really good player at Penn State too. If you just watch the tape. Um, and then these last two picks, you kind of just want to find guys that might be uh like productive in the NFL. Not even productive, but just like projectable. And I think one of those could be this guy right here in Dante Thornton, who's 6'5", runs in the 4.3s. You're kind of just banking on that athleticism. And then last but not least, at 221, you just took wide receiver in the last pick. You do have um some good running backs left just due to how deep this running back class is. And I think you could do with a third down pass catching running back, and I think that could be Donovan Edwards for you. So you get two running backs in this class, but two very decent guys. Um, so yeah, there's my very long Texans mock draft. Apparently, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 man class. Um, but yeah, a lot of players that I think could be impactful day one starters, such as Grace Abel, Marcus and Bo, and Jaden Higgins, all I think could start, and Charles Grant too. Um, especially, I think we might trade Titus Howard. I think Josh Farmer could start. Harold Fannin will start. Jacob Parrish would get impactful snaps as long as Jalen Reed and Jared Ivey, as well as Bashal Tootin being that RB2. And then I think Dante Thornton and Donovan Edwards are projects that you can develop, and Donovan Edwards could get impactful snaps as a third down back. So yeah, all the picks I particularly like, and they all received decent grades besides Thornton and Charles Grant, but I don't think they realized Charles Grant's a tackle on here. But yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to like, subscribe, and if you could, please go follow my Twitter, um, YT Repulse2X. I'd really appreciate that, but yeah, I hope you like the mock draft. If you have any suggestions of what to do next or any different picks I should have made, please be sure to let me know, and I'll be sure to provide a response. But other than that, thank you for watching. I'm out. Peace.